Okay, we are running here. So today I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to cut out a photo from its background. So you may recognize the green screen in this picture here as being the screen that we have in the studio. You can see the edges of the lighting umbrellas. We have a subject here. We're going to cut the subject out of the background using Photoshop, and then we're going to place her into a design in InDesign. So if you remember the last lesson, we looked at the quick selection tool. We're going to use that one again. There are other tools we can use, but I think the quick selection one should work fairly well here. We're going to select our subject, who is not wearing green. Most people do not wear this lovely shade of green, which is why we have green screens. Every now and then somebody does wear that shade of green and it doesn't work. But the green here provides really good contrast from our subject, so we should be able to select everything about her, her clothes, her skin, her hair, all the way down to the bottom of the screen, green screen. Unfortunately, I don't have the floor painted green, but that's probably a project for another day. So I'm slowly selecting my subject here. See that I over-selected here a little bit. So let me take that out. Now I under-selected. It can take a little while to get your selection right. It's always good to just take your time and do this part properly. Otherwise, you end up cutting off parts of people's bodies, and that's not nice. So there we go. So I'm just going to have a trouble working this thing around here. Hang on. There we go. All right, so I've got her selected all the way down to her ankles. There's enough contrast between her shoes and the floor. There's no big problem here. I've got a little bit extra around her heel that I can get rid of. I'll just use a different size brush and just take out this stuff around her bootstrap. Oops, I just took a chunk off her heel. Okay, that's good enough. So now we're going to remove her from the background. I'm going to select inverse, hit the backspace key on the computer, and it should go white. Let's see. No, that did not work out right at all. Let me just change that. Actually, I'm going to use the eraser tool. I'll use the magic eraser tool. I'm going to click on the background, and it's going to delete the background, but it's still leaving a few spaces. Let me try this again. I'm going to set my tolerance a lot higher. There we go. Okay, so now my subject is mostly deleted from the background here. I'm going to deselect. Now, this is the first time I've used Adobe CC Photoshop, so it's a little bit different than what we've been using in Photoshop Elements in this class, so there can be a few challenges here, but what you'll notice is that the background has become this checkerboard thing. And what that means is that there is no background. That if we import this thing into InDesign, there'll be nothing around here. I'm having to clean up this picture a little bit because it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. But anyways, let's say the background is removed here. We're going to save this picture. Once you've deleted a background, it will only save as a Photoshop file. It won't save as a JPEG anymore. So we'll just call this test1. And we're saving it. It's saved. Now I'm going to place it into a file. So I'll go to our I'll go to the wallflower file. Just remember, this is with our template here. I'm going to fill it with text. Now we got text here. I'm going to take this picture frame, which is sitting on top of the text frames. So we look at our layers. Layer 2 is above layer 1. And I'm going to import that photo in here. So I click on File, I go to Place. I need to find that photo. I had it in my yearbook folder. I think it was called Test 1. There it goes, right here. So I'm going to import it. So there's my subject. She's on the page now, but I've got all this white space around her. I don't want that. I want my text to actually go right next to my subject. So I'm going to do a text wrap here. So go back to the text wrap. And now I'm going to choose this text wrap here, which wraps objects or wraps text around object shapes. I'm going to click on that and then switch to detect edges. Now my text will go around the subject. If I want, I can create a little more buffer there to get rid of the gaps behind her. And now I've got text that contours around my subject matter. So what that looks like, if we print it, looks like this. So that's how you do a cutout and import it into InDesign. It's a pretty neat effect. Be really a really striking image on a page. You can get rid of the whole use of a frame. It's pretty neat. We actually do this a fair bit. So there you go. That's how you cut out a photo. I'm probably going to redo this video because there's some tools there in Photoshop I'm not recognizing. But anyways, use this for now, and we'll talk later.